talk about there always being a bigger fish in the sea. I mean, going from having this giant creature in this very dimly lit tunnel, just trying to get to the exit, a bird picks up its corpse, and then said bird, which was already larger than the giant thing trying to kill us, gets ate by like a giant whale-like creature, as in you casually end the episode with Sister Powell just kind of coming in and wanting to kill Bisco. This is one hell of an episode. For being a lot more cool, calm, and collected, this was more of a characterization episode, which kind of fits the episode 6 nature, the midway point of a season. But you still get some pretty crazy action, all things considered, as we really just get to know these characters more, and also kind of flex where certain characters like Milo have come. I mean, one, when he was shooting that rabbit, I really wasn't expecting him to get it. I thought it was just like a casual miss. Very cute design, to then seeing how his creativity with the arrows could actually be pretty good for hunting, and then just seeing him actually fight alongside Bisco. Despite some discouragement, he then ends up getting encouragement, and just to see them work together and feel like true friends, almost like brothers at this point, is amazing. As we also kind of have the more characterization on Jellyfish over here, who we finally get a name drop for. I think they said it was like Tirol or something like that. I'm going to continue to call her Jellyfish. I absolutely love what this show's doing and how it really does feel like it knows when to slow it down. Like, when you take a look at the overall episode's kind of formation, more than 3/4 of this episode was characterization, taking it slow, and really not having anything explosive happen. Every time we've kind of met back up with her and she's kind of like been in their proximity, she's almost always robbed them, there's always been a fight, but this time they just save her from freezing to death, and we get to know her a bit better as we also explore the dynamic with characters like Bisco and what job even means to him, the idea of them both wanting to save someone so close to true family, and I love seeing just how human characters can be in the face of so much anime absurdity. We have giant octopuses, crabs, everything else you can possibly imagine. But in the face of like stripping it down, like when they're just trying to repair the train, the fact that you get to know them, like to see like why is she so good with mechanical things? Like why does she feel the need to, separate herself when she clearly probably respects them in some way? Like why doesn't she just travel with them? Why is she pushing herself away? And to see how she was basically treated like a slave, and just the fact that, she got out of there before it was too late, but the fact that she really doesn't feel like she probably deserves connections, but also is very envious. Like, look at the scene when they were leaving and, they were basically saying, like, please give us your name. We're now to the point where even Bisco himself, like, he's not looking at her being like, I'm going to kill you. It's more of like, he understands she's probably had a hard life herself, and, from what was said, what wasn't said, sometimes what isn't said kind of explains more than what a character is actually revealing. And the fact that they're no longer hostile, they're no longer trying to get money from her that she took, is just more of like, hopefully we'll meet again. And the fact that she says thank you so quietly, but after like they're already like gone, she wishes that she could say goodbye and, have a nice trip. I hope we see each other again. That little moment is really something that sells. Like, I am so excited to see more of their dynamic, and I'm glad that it wasn't too long to see it again. So I'm kind of hoping that it won't be like, 4 episodes from now before we see her again, because there's definitely an interesting trio dynamic there. But on the flip side, given that the sister is now there, you can do, I guess, a different type of dynamic, because clearly, you're trying to kill this giant beast. The sister's going to try to kill Bisco, and now that they're separated by 2, divisions there, right? I mean, I can still imagine that potentially, Milo will do the same thing Bisco did, shoot, a grapple hook, kind of slide down. But if he attempts that, I kind of feel like he might get swallowed by a beast, and Paolo will just be like, what in the actual hell? But it'll be interesting, because having someone like that on your side after getting the clarification, hopefully he's not going to lose an arm or something before the misunderstanding can be removed. But still, I think it's a pretty great cliffhanger, which if we really take a step back and look at the past 3 weeks of cliffhangers in this show, it's been pretty damn good. But it's actually kind of nice to have some further clarification about the Rust Eater, and how, these mushroom keepers have these books, and how there's, different, kind of hints and things like that throughout them, and just, the distinct art style, which is really cool. But in terms of, probably one of the funnier moments in this episode, probably the funniest moment for sure, is when they're trying to make a bargain about basically getting some winter clothing and maybe some supplies, and they're saying, no, you have to give us this, and if not, we'll take your crab off your hands. And then you just see our best girl over here being like, actually, if you just scam them, I've gotten 5 houses out of them. If you win their trust now, you can really screw them over later. And, we got 2 very distinct reactions. One, she absolutely did something scummy to, wow, what kind of magic did you do? And you have to love the kind of friendship, frenemy dynamic that they have going on for them. I mean, this show's just great. We can have, like, tanks, attack helicopters, giant creatures beyond our wildest imaginations, bows and arrows. It's really a jack-of-all-trades anime, but it's a jack-of-all-trades anime that knows what it's doing and remains confident in doing so. And without episodes like these really humanizing people further, I mean, we, of course, Bisco and Milo, we've had tons of character development and moments with them, but I mean, this episode even pushes both of them forward even more. Look at the campfire scene when they're basically talking about what family means to them and how close they've actually gone and kind of grown together, right? And then to have, you know, Jellyfish over here just kind of like really push herself out of her comfort zone and starting to realize that she wants to be with people like that, even though she's been trying to separate herself and scam people for probably so many years. I mean, I pretty much was confident this would be a dark horse of the season since the first episode dropped, but it's great to see how it's not always trying to be crazy, right? It's not always just trying to throw the most wild, absurd creature at these characters. Like, despite them either having to fight or flee, things like that, a good handful of these 6 episodes, it's not like when you look at this episode, right? Like, most people, like, they'll probably, if they're gonna talk about it, they'll talk about, like, oh man, what a crazy cliffhanger, what a crazy beast they fought at the end. But I think for most people just kind of casually watching the show or even doing deep dives of these episodes, the thing that stands out is how they just let the characters feel like people. They didn't need gimmicks. They didn't need to fight for 18 minutes of this episode. I mean, the first handful of minutes they were hunting and it was kind of funny, but it's not like we were fleeing from the attack helicopter. We heard about it, but it was just them talking, and characters sitting around talking and being able to be that compelling and getting to know them in that way makes them more than just a anime character with some goofy hair and some colorful personality traits. No, they feel like people, and that's why I hope nothing bad happens to any of them, and I hope that their family will make it out of it. I mean, the fact that we have potentially a new traveling companion in the form of the sister who is literally deathly ill. On one hand, you want someone that capable of fighting by your side if we can dissolve the misunderstanding. On the flip side, she could go very, very sick at a moment's notice and cause you to not be able to get to your destination in time. So what do? Do you kind of maybe get her to the next village, say, rest up, we got this? I don't know. There's a lot of things that can happen. We got a good cast of characters right now. We got about 5 characters between the sister, Jabby, the main trio, which is what it kind of seems like we were building up to in this episode. Either way, this was a great, great episode. Not the best of the 6 for sure, but something that was definitely needed and humanizes the characters more than just being angry, goofy, or silly anime, kind of like real nice characters or anything else in between. But thoughts and feelings on this week's episode. What did you think about the characterization, the kind of explosiveness towards the end? What do you hope to see with that brutal cliffhanger with the sister now returning? Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. Until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.